All right, guys, let's go ahead and get started. We've had a few more people join, and more will join probably over the next couple of minutes. So welcome everybody to today's webinar. We really appreciate you taking your lunch hour to join us. Just do over a quick overview of the agenda for today. So we have Walter Scott, the Director of Solutions and Services for 5S, on the call. He's going to do a quick overview of 5S. And then we have Rob Henshaw, CMO at Cameyo, who will go over the Digital Workspace Ecosystem Alliance, as well as do a short overview of Cameyo, and then we'll leave some time at the end for some Q&A. Feel free to put any questions into the chat during the presentation. We can get to those at the end as well. And with that, I'm going to hand things over to Walt.
Thank you, Ryan. So a quick introduction for 5S. We've been around for almost 10 years in this area. We've been working, the group and myself have been doing virtual desktop experiences for over 20 years. We work with a lot of the technologies in the area. We work with from application delivery to desktop as a service to remote access for work from home scenarios. And most of those situations most of them are enterprise based. What we've seen in the last few years is the VDI market in general has become more commoditized, and in doing so, we were looking at solutions that we're looking at our solutions, and we're looking at our customers, and we were looking at where the market was going, and we were noticing that we were missing certain market areas that our technology would not fall into. And so we started examining those a couple of years ago, and we looked at two markets that we thought were going to be some things that we could grow. The first market was exploring an all-in-one desktop solution that we would provide, what we call hands-free 5S Workspace. And it's really designed for small business and mid-sized businesses, where we would basically, from a subscription-based model, would support everything you would need from that desktop exposure. So the desktop had to be something very flexible, had to be built to grow from 5 users to 10,000 users, and really just something that was a drop kick in the bucket and just niche play. The other market use case that we came up with was what we call a minimal desktop model. In current situations we have right now, we basically have a Swiss Army knife type of solution that we apply. Sometimes that Swiss Army knife is not the best solution for certain customers. Sometimes you just need a screwdriver. And in those situations, we kind of want to look at what would be the best solution for that, a lower cost model, a lower, less complexity model for our customers to absorb and understand. The environments that we're looking at were banking, manufacturing, and education. And in those situations, we were looking at those kinds of, and what solutions we were looking at for desktop as a service model. We looked at a lot of different things, and Cameyo was one of the solutions that came to our mind. We looked at it, we tested it out, we're still testing it out, and it does hit everything that we need to do. I mean, there are about 6 things that it does for us. No hypervisor reliance whatsoever, cloud enablement, 2 to 3 day deployments, application delivery, open standard client receiver, and flexible, being managed in the cloud, hosted, or on-prem. So we can put it anywhere we want to. So there's no drawbacks, there's no limitations to it. And again, it's going to hit that market that we're looking for that situation. And again, that's where we're coming from this perspective side. And it's something I think we're going to be able to grow for quite a few years.
Excellent.
Rob?
Excellent. Yeah, thanks for that. Well, that was really great. And also, I think it was a perfect lead in to what, I'm going to start with talking about the Digital Workspace Ecosystem Alliance. I'm definitely going to get into the role that Cameyo plays, both in the 5S strategy as well as the broader Digital Workspace ecosystem. But wanted to kind of start at a higher level in terms of the conversation, in terms of what the overall, the broader ecosystem needs to look like. So let me go into presenter mode here. So about 6 months ago, we realized through a lot of conversations with customers as well as with the analyst community that the term digital workspace was getting really confusing and very convoluted, right? Because everybody was using that term. Everybody was calling themselves a digital workspace. Oftentimes, not understanding what that meant. And even the analyst firms, if you asked 10 different analysts what the definition of the digital workspace would be, you'd get 10 very different answers. So we realized that there's an opportunity to kind of help to educate and rally the industry around some common terminology and to kind of start to standardize some things. So Cameyo, we decided to form this alliance, which we launched about 3 months ago. launched it with the support of several analyst firms, launched it with support of some external third-party researchers who could basically say, hey, we're going to help to define the different layers, the different components of the technology stack that are involved in the ecosystem outside of the vendors who are involved in the alliance, so that we can all make sure that we're keeping this as vendor neutral as possible. So yeah, ultimately, why we decided to do it was just that, look, there's a ton of confusion. We wanted to help people determine not just what a digital workspace was, but what pieces of the digital workspace were available, and also to understand that most organizations don't need every component or every layer of the technology stack. So how do you determine which of the pieces of the puzzle, which components of that ecosystem are truly relevant to your personal business? So the Alliance, what we formed was a group of like-minded vendors who wanted to come together and just help to clarify this. Like I said, with the help of a lot of third-party resources as well, to make sure that we were keeping this as vendor neutral as possible. And this is the original 10 founding Alliance members. Now we're up to about 16 members, and we'll be making an announcement about that soon in terms of the growth of the Alliance. But these were the founding 10 members when we launched the Alliance 3 months ago. And as you can see, across the board, players in a lot of different, pieces of the ecosystem. So when we talk about the ecosystem, how are we defining that? And this is what are we, trying to rally everybody around? This is the term. This is the definition that we've come up with, and this is the definition that you're going to start to see some of the analyst firms like IDC, Forrester, and ESG start to utilize as well. Basically, the digital workspace is not any one technology, is a collection of technologies that can integrate to enable you to enable your entire workforce, regardless of where they happen to be, whether they're remote or hybrid or wherever they happen to be, to enable those people to securely work from anywhere. So that's the simple definition that we've come up with for the workspace. Everybody here is very familiar with what has happened over the last 18 months in terms of the evolution to, the increased role of the digital workspace in all of our organizations. So I don't need to spend too much time there. What I would like to dive into is the model that we announced as an alliance. So we came out with our initial white paper that breaks down these key 8 elements of the ecosystem. So the important thing here, just like Walt was saying, is that it's not about one technology versus the other. It's not about either or. It's not about saying that one thing is better than the other. It's about clearly understanding what each component, what each layer that you're seeing here does, and then being able to say, what, that sounds like that serves a need that I have within my organization. If it doesn't serve a need that you have in your organization, then you don't need that layer. And also to realize that virtual desktops and virtual applications is a good example, right? Virtual desktops, here at Cameyo, we're a virtual application delivery platform, but we also recognize that there's still a role for virtual desktops in some organizations, right? Most of the time, what we see is that there's about 10% of the organization maybe that are power users that truly want and need a full virtual desktop environment, and then 80 to 90% of your organization just needs access to all of their business critical applications that they need to be productive on any device and from anywhere. So it's not about, hey, you need to go all in on virtual desktops or virtual apps. Sometimes it's a blend. Sometimes you will choose one or the other. That's fine too. But it's also part of what we're trying to accomplish with the ecosystem alliance is to help people identify which pieces of the puzzle actually work for them. And then find a way to work with, our great partners like 5S who know how to put this stuff together and know how to provide that guidance and help you on your digital workspace journey. So yeah, ultimately it's just about understanding the different pieces and making sure that you're getting everything you need and not getting the things that you don't need. And that's where the Alliance is focusing our time and effort. You can grab the white paper for free if you'd like. You can go to cameyo.com/DWEA for Digital Workspace Ecosystem Alliance and grab that paper. And then obviously, reach out to Les at 5S if you'd like to learn more about Cameyo or any other pieces of the technology puzzle that you might need help with. I'll pause briefly before I hop in to kind of talk about Cameyo and provide the Cameyo specific overview. Are there any questions about the Alliance itself? Ryan, if we're seeing questions come in via chat or if we have people muted, but I could also just wait till the end for the Q&A if that's easier to unmute everybody then.
Yeah, we'll wait till the very end.
Okay.
Everyone's muted right now. And like I said, if everyone has questions, feel free to put it into the questions box or into the chat.
Awesome, great. So yeah, I'll go ahead and just talk a little bit about who we are here at Cameyo. So as I mentioned briefly earlier, here at Cameyo, we're a virtual application delivery platform. So our focus is on the secure delivery of applications to any digital workspace. That's always been our focus. Our whole goal is to help people, give their employees, regardless of where those employees are based, give them secure, ultra secure access to all of their all of the applications that they need, whether they're legacy Windows applications or internal web apps, the entire spectrum. Be able to provide access to all those applications in one secure place, via any HTML5 browser, and allow them to be productive from anywhere. And to do that without the need for VPNs or virtual desktops. So again, virtual desktops are not bad. That if you choose to use those for the folks who truly need that, that's awesome. But there is a significant opportunity to dramatically reduce complexity and reduce cost by identifying the users in your organization who just need access to applications and don't need a full virtual desktop to do so. So our focus is on application delivery without the virtual desktop, without the need for VPNs. These are my co-founders, Eyal and Andrew. Great team. I've worked with Andrew for 16 years. We've worked with Eyal for 4. And we've grown to about 25 people overall in the last year and a half. As I mentioned, we're focused on virtual application delivery. The differentiator and how we run our business and what we enable, and Walt mentioned part of this, is that we are truly built for the cloud, as opposed to a lot of technologies were pre-cloud that have been adapted to the cloud. We are here to help enable you in whatever environment you choose to work in. We have a fully hosted version of Cameyo where you can choose to utilize Cameyo either in GCP or Azure, and AWS will be coming soon. Or we have always been able to, we have a self-hosted version of Cameyo that enables you to bring your own cloud and deploy Cameyo within whatever cloud you happen to use. Oracle Cloud, IBM Cloud, Alibaba Cloud, doesn't matter. You can self-host this anywhere, as well as on premises. So we're just very, very flexible, very easy to get up and running. The simplicity aspect, I think, is critical. So one thing that when you typically think of VDI, a lot of times what people will think about is just the overall complexity of just getting it up and running, but then the overall management of that over the long term. ESG, the analysts over at ESG put out a report last year that on average, VDI deployments take 10 full-time employees to manage throughout, to fully manage throughout the year, and on average they take about 3 months to get set up. With Cameyo, you can be up and running within a matter of hours in terms of getting your first application published to your users, and depending in terms of how many applications and how many internal groups you need to establish and who has access to what. In our experience, getting very large scale deployments of 25 to 50,000 users. We just did one a couple weeks ago that took 3 days for a 50,000 user rollout. So when you compare that to the complexity of preparing virtual desktop infrastructure and rolling that out, it's just incredibly easy to get up and running. And we have a bunch of case studies on our site where you can kind of see time and time again that it's usually a matter of hours or days, not weeks or months. So always looking to find ways to help streamline and get our customers up and running as quickly as possible. Because we are we have a flat rate pricing model, so that from a cost-effective perspective, most of the times if you're looking at application delivery or even DaaS providers, a lot of people will talk about a flat rate model, but then there's usually an asterisk that says plus usage costs, right? So there's what you're paying for, Cameyo, or for Nutanix Frame, or whoever the competitor might be, and then a lot of times it'll say plus usage costs. With Cameyo, we are the only virtual application delivery provider where usage costs are included, so there is no chance for bill shock at the end of the month. You're not paying the per user price for utilizing Cameyo and then getting a big bill for all of your cloud usage at the end of the month. So that's just a nice, predictable way to manage your virtual application delivery costs. And we are an incredibly secure way to deliver applications. So Eyal, Mike, our initial founder and our CTO, comes from a deep security background. He's got 12 issued security patents, including one here at Cameyo. And his entire career has been in security. He built Cameyo from the ground up with a zero trust security model at the foundation. And he's also built technologies like NoVPN and RDP Port Shield that are all baked into Cameyo. None of these things are optional or additional. These are all just things that every Cameyo customer has at their disposal. So we view security as fundamental and foundational, never something that needs to be charged for additionally. I'm going to go ahead real quick and show you guys what Cameyo looks like. So this is a traditional, just a Cameyo portal in action. So these are the applications that this particular IT administrator has published to their people. Something we just actually announced yesterday is Cameyo Analytics. This is a new AI-based tool that we've developed that in real time shows you your utilization and everything that's happening in your environment. There's two kind of key benefits to Cameyo Analytics. One is the cost optimization side of things and performance optimization. So if you look over here, taking a look at CPU and RAM, all of this white space here is underutilization or over provisioning of your environment. So what we would do is we would dynamically, first for fully hosted customers, all this is just seamless in the back end. It automatically optimizes the environment to reduce cost. For self-hosted customers, we give you this visibility and then give you real-time alerts and say, hey, look, there's opportunity here for you to optimize your environment from a cost perspective. Similarly, we do that in terms of optimization for the user experience as well. So what we'll do is we'll identify, anomalies or spikes in, for example here in session failures, and say, hey, look, looks like you have a higher than normal rate of session failure that's happening. Here are recommendations on what you can do to remediate and to fix this issue before it becomes something that actually starts impacting your end users and starts turning into support tickets. So this piece is primarily optimizing for cost. This is optimizing for the user experience and making sure that your environment is always up and running as best as it can. We do this, we provide this visibility on a cluster, a server, an application, all the way down to the user level. So you can see who your power users are, which applications are being utilized the most, and what their resource usage is. And then as you can see here, we also provide constantly the recommendations on what you can do to optimize your environment. Now it doesn't, we push these alerts as well, so you would be seeing these in real time from our system, but we also have that included here on the dashboard, so you can always come in and optimize as needed. If you're a self-hosted customer, again, on the fully hosted side, that's all taken care of fully for you. In terms of the ease of use, I can show you real quick how simple it is to publish an application to your users, and I think this is really where where the magic happens in terms of the difference between virtual application delivery and virtual desktops. Again, nothing wrong with virtual desktops. Don't want to say anything bad about that technology or or our competitors. But it is virtual desktops serve a very specific purpose, and we are focused on the application delivery and just simplifying everything. So what you'd see, you go into your individual server, you'd go into add application. I'll let that spin up for a minute since this is my first demo of the morning. But what you can see here is all the applications that you've published so far. For every application, you have the ability to, so we integrate with G Suite, with Active Directory, with everything. So you can take your existing user groups and decide, who has access to which applications. Obviously, you want the finance team to have access to QuickBooks, but maybe you don't want the marketing team to have access to it. So you can do role-based access to everything. We also integrate with all of the single sign-on providers, Octoping, everything. So whatever you're utilizing, we integrate with those as well. And in terms of, sorry, just getting this service one up. In terms of publishing an application, so all you would do, come to the Cameyo server. You can open up a browser here if you don't have the application downloaded already, and I'll just search for something simple like Notepad++. Any application that you want to utilize, you would just grab the exe. And then literally just install it the same way as you would install an application on, an individual PC. So I'll go ahead and run this just like I normally would. And then momentarily we'll see the application open up. Great, there it is. So then what you do is you go back to the server. And then you would find that application that you just installed. Okay, recently installed, here's Notepad++. Check that box, hit apply. In a second, you'll see, great, success, it's been published. I'll take you back over here to the application portal, and there's Notepad++, published to all of my users. So for every application that IT publishes, you get individual secure link to that application, so you can either just give them give your users access to all these apps from within a portal, or you can point whatever portal you're utilizing. We're completely API based. You can point to the application here, and then for any given application, you're running the full desktop version of that application just in a browser. So let me go back to this dashboard. So for example, let's just open up Excel, and you might ask, okay, well, Excel, you could just use, Microsoft 365, but that we do have customers, a lot of customers who utilize, basic things like Excel via Cameyo as well, because if you need to utilize macros, for example, Office 365 doesn't support macros, so they use the full desktop version of Excel with Cameyo. So what you're seeing here is exactly that. So you're seeing the full desktop version, not the Office 365 version. And same goes for every application that you publish. Your users are getting the same exact experience that they're used to in terms of saving. They can we integrate with all the major cloud storage providers, so you can set it up so that people are saving the way that their workflow is seamless. One of the great things is that with a lot of digital workspace technologies that are out there, there's a learning curve in terms of getting people to adopt a new behavior. We are giving them the same exact experience that they've always had. They can work on everything exactly the way that they normally would. Same thing goes for printing. We pull in all of your printing options and give you the ability to print directly, just like you would if you're utilizing the desktop version. So yeah, our focus is really just on really simple, ultra secure access to all of your applications from any device. We have deep partnerships with we've been a Google partner for over two and a half years. One of the original things that kind of drew Google to us as a partner was that they were constantly going into large enterprise deals for large Chromebook enterprise deals, and ultimately somebody would raise their hand and ask the question, what are we supposed to do about our Windows applications on Chromebooks? And we were able to help remove that roadblock for them in Chrome Enterprise deals. So we've been a long time GCP and Chrome Enterprise partner. We're a Microsoft Azure partner, and we'll soon be rolling out our fully hosted version on AWS as well. So I'm going to pause there in terms of the overview of Cameyo and also the Ecosystem Alliance. And Ryan, and Walt, if it works for you, we can go ahead and open things up for questions.
Yeah, that sounds good. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna unmute everybody. If you don't currently have yourself self-muted, please do. If you have a question, then you can go ahead and ask it. So let's go ahead and unmute all. All right. Yes.
So one other thing I can kind of talk about in the meantime while we're waiting for questions to come in is for anybody who has not seen the VDI Like a Pro research yet. So VDI Like a Pro, largest independent end user computing survey every year. They've been doing it for 7 years now, and it's great because it's not paid for and owned by any particular organization, but the three guys who started VDI Like a Pro. It's Ruben Spriet from Nutanix, previously a Frame, but he was acquired by Nutanix, and then Mark Plettenberg of Login VSI, and then Christian Brinkoff over at Microsoft. And so they come together every year, the three of them outside of their organizations, to do this survey. So the 2021 report just came out. It was their largest survey ever with 1,700 organizations responding. And what was really interesting about this data was that it kind of starting to put a little bit more clarity around this shift and balance between virtual desktops and virtual applications. Back in 2020, 22%, if you added up all the people who said that they relied more on virtual applications than they did on virtual desktops, it was 22%. And then in 2021, that number increased to 32%, so a 10% increase year over year. The more interesting thing, though, is that when asked about their plans moving forward, 17% of virtual desktop users said that they were planning to shift to virtual application delivery. So that would essentially put virtual desktop, the intent of organizations who are starting to utilize virtual application delivery instead of virtual desktops, at about a 50-50 balance point. So it's really, and again, this is not just about virtual apps versus virtual desktops. I know this data kind of positions it that way. Many organizations are utilizing both. It's just really about finding the formula that works for you and deciding which users truly need a virtual desktop and which users just need really simple, secure access to all of their applications. So thought the data might be a little bit interesting. This report is available for free at vdilikeapro.com. Really interesting stuff. If you haven't seen it, would recommend taking a look. Any questions?
Yeah, everyone should have the ability to unmute themselves if you do have any questions.
Yeah, hey, this is Tom Hamilton. Can y'all hear me?
Yes.
Hey, I was curious what protocols. This is running RDP and you're running it through HTML5?
That's correct. Yep.
So are you all able to support as many end user devices? So are we talking we're gonna have issues with printers? Are we gonna have anything of that sort? How's the support for that going?
Yeah, so we do have USB redirect. So any devices that you have, that'll all be recognized. All the way back to we've seen some, we have a shipping customer that has some really old USB scales, and even those are detected and supported. So that's not an issue. And yeah, I think so. I think that was the second part of your question of the external devices. What was the first part?
It was just what protocols? At RDP,
Oh,
and you're just using HTML5 to render that?
Yep, that's correct. Yeah, and then one thing to note is that with the RDP port shield technology that we developed, a lot of times the issue with RDP is, as you likely know, is that it's just a lot of remote desktop technologies just kind of fling all the RDP ports open. What we do is we automatically close all RDP ports by default, and we just dynamically open and close the ports as needed for authenticated users. So it's kind of an additional layer of security on top of RDP.
And the next question I have is that you kind of quickly showed how you pick an app to publish it, but I don't know if I noticed or saw, is there a way for us to do any of our homegrown apps to put them out there, or is this, how do we customize it for what we're doing?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, if any application that that can be installed on a Windows 2012 R2 or above can be installed on Cameyo, and published via Cameyo. So we do have, in addition to organizations that just have their own homegrown apps, we do actually have a large portion of our customers who are ISVs who were looking at ways to kind of SaaSify or web enable their apps, but then as they looked at the opportunity, they realized that it's going to take a couple of years to redevelop it. Redevelop the app for the web. It's going to cost a couple $1 million, and at the end of the day, the feature parity is not going to be there with the desktop version. So we have quite a few ISVs who utilize Cameyo to deliver the SaaS version of their application, so that all of their customers are now utilizing the application through Cameyo, unbeknownst to them, and still getting access to the full desktop version, but they're just now utilizing it through the browser instead.
Cool, thanks a lot.
Of course. Yeah, and then happy to for your specific use case and for the homegrown apps that you are curious about, we're happy to do a deeper dive personal demo for you. Just reach out to Les at 5S and he'd be happy to coordinate. Cool.
All right.
Any other questions?
All right, I guess that was it. If anyone does have any other additional questions that you think of after the webinar, please feel free to reach out. Like I said, to Les at 5S. We can always set up a separate call with Rob and get those questions answered as well.
Yeah, and Les works closely with one of our technical account managers, so they're always happy to hop in and do something very specific. If you have questions about particular applications, or you want to talk about something that you have internal, they can actually dig in and they're happy to show you how this would work in your own environment. So Les knows who to reach out to get a deep technical contact on the phone with you, and we're happy to go as deep as needed and get you set up with a free trial and work with you however we need.
All right. Thanks a ton, Rob. If no one else has any questions, we'll kind of go ahead and give you guys some of your time back. Once again, we really appreciate everyone joining today, giving us some of your lunch hour to listen to what we've had to say. So like I said, we'll follow up with everyone after. Like I said, Les at 5S is your go-to contact, so easy to remember. But everyone have a great rest of your day. Hope to talk to you soon.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.